Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's time for our weekly Pirates chat. As always, I'm Andrew Destin here from the Post-Gazette, joined by our Pirates beat reporter, Jason Mackey. And Jason, it's still May for 2 more days. There's still a chance for the Pirates to win a series this month. But I guess maybe I should
Stop
temper
it.
that. You beat me
Stop
to it.
it.
I was going to temper the optimism. I don't know if I can, man. They're 26 and 27, below 500, first time since the opening weekend. Floor is yours, Jason. Let's get into it, man.
Oh man, can I crawl on it in the fetal position? That's what I feel like doing. I was saying to you before we started recording this, Andrew, and I believe it. I've been around for some of the crappiest times in this organization's recent history. A lot of vitriol, a lot of fans being very mad over 100-loss seasons, and even 2020 and what that turned into. And I don't know if I've ever seen this fan base more agitated than it is right now. And I'm not saying that people don't have a reason to be. Like, absolutely, you should be mad. It's just an observation from somebody who tends to absorb a lot of it. And, if you would take this Pirates season and like scramble up the wins and losses and say it got here at a fairly even pace, like they played good for 3 games, bad for 3 games, played well for 3 games, played poorly for 3 games. I don't think there would be this sort of upsetness that we're seeing right now. But the fact that they started off so good, 20-8, they looked really good in April, and then just the bottom fell out, and how the bottom has fallen out, people are mad, man. They are mad. And I do think they're going to spin out of this, but it's just been not soon enough, Andrew. Not that we're fans, but like I don't know about you to live in a world of like constant negativity where anytime someone wants to like email you or interact with you, like they just want to yell at you about how bad the Pirates are. Like, it's getting old, man. I would not mind living in a different world here soon.
Yeah, I second all of that, especially in the regard of like, there's always things, usually it feels like with any team, you and I have covered, there's always bright spots that you can pinpoint, right? You can
Right.
zoom in on a player, or there's some trend, there's some individual who stands out, who kind of goes above the fray. And, obviously it's still happening here in some respects of the Pirates, but it's just difficult. It's hard to really say that overarching. It's just been a really tough month of May, and it goes across the board. It's, the pitching taking a turn down where the hitting, and it's become redundant. And I think there's no better way really to describe it. It's just that there's new ways of finding ways to lose. There's new underwhelming performances, and it's across the board, and it's made it a difficult one just in that aspect. Because I'm with you. I see ways that they'll eventually break out of this, but I don't know. Maybe it's just turning the month over to June. I don't know what it is, but this month has been a hard one in a lot of different ways.
Well, I mean, simple logic would tell you that as changeable as 20-8 was, they're 6-19 in May. That's also changeable. They are capable of playing better baseball. We've seen it. But I think it's insulting to fans to say, like, don't worry, it's fine, everything will be okay. Like, no. You're bad. They're playing very poor baseball. After that first month, maybe you plunked down money for like a season ticket package or bought a bunch of merchandise or changed your cable plan to make sure you could watch all these games, and you got all excited and you spent a lot of time and energy investing in a team that you thought was going to be really good. Yep. And then they just weren't. All of a sudden, and the tough part for me, like if I'm in that clubhouse, if I'm Derek Shelton, if I'm a coach, if I'm a player, it's hard because it's not any one thing. You can't even say that, oh, well, the offense has been terrible. They can't hit. They need to work more on it. Well, the fielding's been bad too. The pitching has been intermittently bad, although I think the pitching has been the least of their problems. I would make that argument, at least the starting pitching. I mean, some of the bullpen stuff, like, yeah, you'd like to see more from Stevenson. You want somebody in the 7th inning. Dwayne Underwood Jr. wasn't getting it done, etc. And then you look at things like guys producing in the minor leagues, and catching would be a perfect example. I mean, obviously people have brought this up with Henry and Endy before, but you're seeing Austin Hedges contribute nothing offensively whatsoever. You have guys down there who are hitting the ball, who are top 100 prospects, who almost assuredly on other teams would be up with the major league club. Like, even if it doesn't work, if I'm the Pirates, I'm at least bringing one of those guys up to show that I care. And I know they care. I'm not saying they don't care, but it's like, look, this is what's going to happen. You guys don't figure it out. Like, here's Endy. He's not going to be the last one. We're going to bring up other guys. Hopefully somebody gets uncomfortable. This is what we're going to do. And to our fans, we're not going to tolerate this. This is not okay. We're giving this kid a chance. Now, if he doesn't produce, we're going to send him back down, just like you should do with anybody. But, to sit there and languish with, I think Hedges has like a 20 WRC plus, I want to say. I mean, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy to just keep running that out there and expect something to change. I don't care how well he handles a pitching staff. And I don't know. I'm just trying to put my fan hat on for a second. And like that would irritate me too. I get it.
Yeah, well, and I think you make a really great point there about the gestures because, I mean, again, this is somebody coming with the outside perspective, but like over the years that I've followed the Pirates from afar, it's always been that, yes, maybe there were some prospects where they waited a little bit for a myriad of reasons, but they also haven't really been afraid of saying, hey, we're gonna try guys, we're gonna see what sticks, get guys up to the big leagues and see what happens, and maybe it's ulterior motives here, right? Because guys like Endy and Henry, you value them quite a good deal. There's so many factors at play, but it seems so counterintuitive that you have this run of a hot streak that maybe was unsustainable, right? Like, we'll play that game of the month of April was unsustainable, but it had built up this momentum that could eventually be supplemented by guys who you thought highly of that were waiting in the wings in the minors, and that when it was their time, when you get to May, end of May or beginning of June, that it's their time. And there's just been, it feels like this hesitancy, and it's extended beyond those guys, right? If they had this conviction in a Nick Gonzalez to bring him up and think that's the answer for more up the middle, albeit though Tucupita Marcano has certainly done his job at short, like, more guys you can try in the outfield. Like Cal Mitchell gets onto a hitting streak. They've done that with Josh Palacios, but there's been this hesitancy maybe with the more highly regarded prospects versus the guys who have been deemed 4A players with other organizations or whatever it may be. It's just an interesting thing at catchers specifically, because you have a clear-cut answer that there's been hesitancy to, despite, you had an opportunity at the big league level that could maybe remedy some issues that we've been seeing kind of day in and day out, at least in terms of at the plate versus behind it.
Here's the common thread that I think this new regime misses sometimes, and I've made this case to them. I don't think it's any secret that I feel this way. They want fans want to see the Pirates care as much as they do. And I think the guys in charge now do care. They put a lot of time in. I'm not saying they don't, but it's not as noticeable. And they don't care in a way that fans can appreciate. And that's going to create sort of a chasm. Is it chasm or chasm? I don't know. I think it's chasm. But anyway, it creates this issue here where fans want a pound of flesh. They want to see somebody get mad. They want to see something done. They want to see that the organization that they really, really want to win. And it's frustrated them for so long. And I give Pirates fans a ton of credit, man. I really do. Like, you want to talk about passionate fan bases that stand by things and are emotionally invested when the organization has given them a lot of reasons not to. Like, they're still coming out to the park. They're still excited. They're still reading our stuff. They're still listening to stuff about the Pirates. It's incredible how much people still care about the Pirates. They want that back from the organization. They want to see the organization turn over rocks and get rid of veteran players who aren't producing and bring up younger guys. Give younger guys an opportunity. I mean, that's what a Henry Davis, Endy Rodriguez move would be. No, they're not fully developed. And who the heck cares? Because the guys at the major league level aren't hitting. You need more offense. That's an easy way for this current front office to show fans that we care, that it won't be tolerated. But again, here's the chasm. I'm going to make up a pronunciation of that word. Like, they look at it in a more pragmatic way, where they look at, well, he's not done developing. We don't want to rush it. We're the ones that have to, put our butts on the line if this guy doesn't work out the way we hope, and we have a better idea. Which, like, I understand what they're saying, and I understand what the fans are saying, and it just doesn't meet in the middle to where you have a solution. And this is stupid or whatever, but I mean, they need to find a way to play better baseball. They really do. Like, they need to control things like not making silly mistakes. Tucupita Marcano getting picked off in the first inning would be an example of one. Not allowing a pitcher to have a 3-pitch inning would be another example of one. Not making other dumb outs on bases and running into them when stealing. Some of the bumbles and stumbles that Josh Palacios had in the outfield. They need to figure out a more reliable bullpen solution, getting the ball to Colin Holderman and David Bednar. I mean, I could go on. But like that's stuff that the major league team can affect, because I don't think that the front office is going to have the same emotional reaction that fans want it to have.
Right. And I think all of this discussion, it kind of goes back to timeline is the word that comes to mind for me, because I think you don't have to be so set in stone about what you have in mind of this is a guy's expected arrival date in the big leagues,
Right.
especially in light of what April was, right? Like it doesn't have to be this rigid, okay, April is going to go XYZ, so is May, so is June, and then these guys will be ready, and nothing that happens at the big league level should impact that. Like, I disagree with that notion, and that's kind of how I interpret this, is that regardless of what happens in the majors, like, we are valuing development upon development, and it is only and only when they are ready. But I don't know, based on April, you should have adjusted that timeline, and it doesn't seem like there's any indication of that. And I think from a, big, like 10,000 foot level, I think that should be the case with any organization, any franchise, whatever the sport. Like, you should be able to adjust your timeline based on what's actually happening on the field. And I don't know that we're seeing that. And I think that's just one way, I guess, of looking at it from my end, if you're a fan who has that kind of frustration.
Yeah, I get that. I also think there's something you should bake into that. I mean, fans aren't naive about the Super 2 stuff, and obviously the team isn't going to say it, nor should they. And I mean, truthfully, like, I don't even know if they're wrong at this point. Like, are you going to take it on the chin for an extra 2 weeks and preserve millions of dollars down the road? Probably at this point. I would probably argue that don't let it get to this point. Like, let the best players play from the very beginning. But they didn't do that. And now that we're here, like, what the heck? If we've seen bad, how bad can worse be? We're not far away from that. I do think it's funny that magically, the first or second week of June or whatever the heck it is, like, somebody's development is often completed. Like, you can just sort of notice that, and magically they're going to be up here. But, I do think we're nearing that time, man. I really do. Like, the catching situation, I respect what Hedges does with pitchers. And I mean, honestly, like, I wouldn't even get rid of him. I think what he does is important, and I think that can be taught to a younger catcher. But why we're not, pulling the ripcord here on one of these two young kids, I don't care which one, maybe honestly who's more offensively developed, just to shake things up, just to give somebody a look, give them an opportunity, show fans that we're willing to do this, etc. Boy, it seems like we have to be bumping our heads on that ceiling.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more, man. It's a fascinating topic, just because, like you said, you got these timelines in play with Super 2 and mid-June and all that sort of stuff. It's something, man. It's a heck of a first year on the beat. I'll say that. It's been a fun one for me personally.
It's been eventful. Well, what happened? By the way, is that you? Is that a you issue? Like, you go over to the Penguins.
What?
Were you there for the sale?
I was just after. Yeah.
So, okay, you came in after they put the team up for sale. And then after the season, they blow it up, fire Hextall, Burke. You're going to have a GM hire. I mean, I don't – good thing they extended Shelton, I guess, at least for this regard. We're not going to have to deal with a coaching or managerial search, GM search. My goodness, man, it's you. That's the issue. It's you.
What's Taylor Swift's song? It's me. I'm the problem. Forgive the reference. I'm not much of a Taylor Swift fan.
Okay.
But I figured that was appropriate.
You're not a Taylor Swift fan?
Not much. Not to disrespect her music or anything like that. I just don't listen very much. But I'm sure she has some excellent tracks.
I'm not. You're too big into hip hop. I used to work with this. So a couple years ago, more than a couple now, Sam Werner used to be my beat partner on Penguins, and he was a big Taylor Swift fan. I always got a kick out of that. I think Sam just tweeted a picture from a Taylor Swift concert. But he was a good man. I miss Sam.
Oh, it's awesome. Love that anecdote. And I can't really think of any good way to transition that into Vince Velasquez, but I guess I'll try.
I wish I knew more about Taylor Swift. I'd make a song reference, but I have nothing.
Nope, makes two of us. So I made my one reference. I'm dropping the mic. I'm out. Vince Velasquez comes back from the IL, gets injured in Seattle. It helps to have the insurance there to still have Ortiz, but the rotation dynamic, I guess, just kind of want to walk through that with you, because Contreras for all of less than 24 hours was briefly moved back to the bullpen, but now is obviously back in a starting role. Let's just kind of unwrap all that. With Contreras, what does he need to do to kind of cement this spot, especially if it seems like Velasquez is going to be out for a little bit here?
Yeah, I think Vince is going to be a while. We talked to him Sunday morning in Seattle, something like that. I mean, or maybe it was Saturday. I don't remember. They all blend together. But I mean, he was pretty down. They're still getting it sort of tested. I'm sure we'll get an update from Tomzik, but it does not seem close. Vince told us that they're going to be taking longer this time. He missed about a month last time and, 2 months, something like that, probably a 60-day IL spot at that point. So Rowanzi is going to have a chance to go back into the rotation. Is going to need to go back into the rotation. To be fair, I don't think they pulled him out of the rotation because they were terribly unhappy with his performance. They've been working with him on his delivery, try to get him to consistently speed it up. They feel like it slows down a little bit from time to time. So they want to give him a different look. This has been a page that they've developed in their playbook with Mitch Keller and others. I don't have any issue with it. I thought he pitched pretty well and pretty direct out of the pen in Seattle. I expect him to make a start this weekend against the Cardinals, maybe Friday. I think that's when it lines up. But what he needs to do is pretty simple. Honestly, Andrew, is command his fastball. I know that sounds silly, but when he does that, it opens the door for the rest of his stuff. Slider is very good. We've seen him use it a lot of times, but often it's predicated on how well he commands his fastball. He's going to have opportunities to do it. Right now, their rotation basically shakes out Mitch Keller, Rich Hill, Johan Oviedo, Rowanzi, and Luis Ortiz is going to get more run. I think at some point you could see them turn the page to Quinn Priester, but we saw with Priester's last outing. Like, he's been really good, but he's not quite there yet. Really good in May for 4 starts and then as a clunker. It's nothing against him. It's just I would not go there yet. I don't think they need to go there yet. Now, the interesting thing, and I'll knock on some wood here, what happens if they need somebody else? That's an interesting thing to me. I don't want to see anybody go down by any stretch, but like, they thin out to the point where it's like Priester and Osvaldo Bido, Caleb Smith, Jared Jones. I don't think you're going to go that route at this point. It's an interesting lot, and I'm sure they're sort of scouring the waiver wire, trying to find somebody they can bring into the organization on the cheap. But it's an interesting situation with the rotation right now.
Yeah, and it's like you were sitting there a few weeks back before Vince gets hurt, and you're thinking, oh, we got this wealth, this nice setup here because you got Priester waiting in the wings, and Ortiz is pitching great in AAA, but now it's kind of out of necessity. He's still up here, and obviously did well, in the one start back here in Pittsburgh. But it's a dynamic, and the pitching. To your point earlier about the starting pitching hasn't been the issue as much as getting the ball to the 8th and the 9th inning guys there, and Holderman and Bednar. But it's a dilemma with the pitching, just of. Yeah, with Vince out, that kind of changes the dynamic a lot. And I just really thought it was interesting how the franchise elected to go with letting Dwayne go and in valuing keeping Ortiz up and, obviously keeping Contreras. And that.
You know what I think that was, Andrew? I think that was like an Andujar move where they just knew that nobody was going to pick him up.
Yeah.
That's got to be it to me. Like, what did Dwayne agree to? Like $1 million, I want to say. I had it here. $1,200,000 or 1.025 million. I'll say it that way. Was his kind. I just don't think anybody's going to pay that for his level of performance this year. So you can sneak him through to the. I guess I don't. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. That was exactly it. It was just discussing that of what we saw from him and how there's been this struggle to find that 7th inning guy, whether it was him, whether it's been Bob Stevenson, who certainly had his struggles in May, and, Dauri Moretta has been a guy that they've thrown in there. It's like, the rotation talk is important and rightfully so, but that 7th inning role that in April that, everybody seemed to feel so good about of get the quality start, and then it's 7, 8, 9, and now that talk has dissipated. It doesn't exist anymore, and that 7th inning seems pretty darn important these days, and I guess you got to keep rolling with Moretta and Stevenson. I don't know. What do you make of that? How else would you kind of approach that situation?
Goodness gracious. I would not keep running Bob Stevenson out there for the 7th inning at this point. That much I'm sure of. I don't know if I love Dauri Moretta in that spot consistently either, but he's probably the best available option. I honestly might think about bringing up somebody from AAA. I don't know who that would be. I don't like a couple of the situations they have brewing in the bullpen. I like Rob Zastryzny a lot, but I'm not sure he, can't be replaced from somebody in the minors at this point, given how he's pitched. You know who I honestly might go back to is Chase DeYoung.
Yeah.
I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but if you give me a choice between Stevenson, Dari Moretta, and Chase DeYoung in the 7th inning, I'm taking Chase DeYoung. I'm okay with Moretta as like a, earlier inning fireman type. He seems to do that well. But to consistently say he's my 7th inning guy, I mean, maybe rotate him with Chase DeYoung. I would do something other than what they have going on right now. That much I know. And, Carmen Majinski, Cam Aldred. I would maybe look at Colin Selby, but he's been dealing with a shoulder thing. I don't think he's quite ready. I don't even know if he's back, to be honest with you. I got to check on that. But there has to be a better way than to just continuing to run Bob Stevenson out there. Like, they're sitting on his slider. And when it's down the middle of the plate, which it was to Eugenio Suarez in Seattle, it's getting crushed. Like, his fastball has not been terribly effective, really ever in his major league career. And people are like, the book's out on him. And until he can punch back, like, it's not going to work. And so they do have a 7th inning problem. Holderman and Bednar have been outstanding, but they've had trouble getting the ball to them. I mean, they've also had trouble getting, the quality starts that they did in April. I don't expect to have 19 or whatever the heck it was in that month. It was crazy, but, you could still get a little bit more length from the starting pitchers for sure.
Yeah. And Stevenson, you bring up the sliders. It's so interesting because, like, there was a guy we talked to last week, and he's saying, I got to throw more sliders. I was getting away from it a little bit too much. I'm too
not
over
wrong.
the middle. Yeah, it's not wrong, but it's if you're not throwing them effectively, it doesn't matter what pitch you're throwing, right? It's that's the issue.
Throw more good sliders, less bad ones. Like that pitch to Suarez is going to get crushed every time. That was literally joking with somebody. He found the mathematical center of the strike zone somehow. Equal parts from all corners, and put a slider there that barely moved. Like that ain't going to work. And Bob Stevenson would be the first one to tell you that.
Yeah. It's a dilemma. It's something they're dealing with, which, it's something. All right. But, kind of want to get back onto the plate. Ke'Bryan Hayes, he's a guy who'd shown some pop the last couple of weeks, had talked about making some adjustments, but, both him and with Andy Haynes, rotten series in Seattle. I can't think of any other way to put it, down to 221 after getting an off day Monday. Kind of big picture thinking, does this run with Hayes, worry you that despite some of the advanced metrics, liking him with exit velo and things like that, as a big league hitter, is his ceiling at the plate maybe not much that much higher than what we've seen the last few years? I mean, does this stretch does that creep into your mind, that thought, or is this just a rotten spell and he'll get past it? Like, where's your head at with Hayes as a hitter here?
Yeah, I still think it's in there, Andrew. I do.
Yeah.
But I'm going to qualify that with a couple things. He looked so much different to me in September 2020 and even the beginning of 2021 than he does right now. I don't know if he's in his own head too much. He probably is. I mean, a lot of times that's what it is when a guy's struggling the way he is. What I saw when he came up was somebody who was very athletic, free and easy, not thinking too much, and just attacking the baseball. And I think we've gotten so far away from that with him. He's talking about advanced approach and the type of swing he wants to take and getting behind the ball and trying to elevate it and this, that, and the other. He's a strong kid. He's an athletic kid. You see it out in the field. If I was managing Ke'Bryan Hayes right now, honestly, I would say, dude, get away. And maybe that's what yesterday was. I want you to think less. I don't want you to get all wrapped around the axle about what's going on here. I want you to try to control Z as many things that have been put into your head as possible. Think about what we saw in September 2020, and get back to that. Be free, be athletic. And I don't care if you go 0 for 60 over the next 3 weeks or whatever the heck it is. Like, you're going to play. You're going to play every day. I'm going to give you at-bats. I'm going to believe in you, and I'm going to take the bullets for you. And then you go out to the media and you say, had a talk with Ke'Bryan. He's thinking too much. We're going to get him back. He's going to play. Outline the plan. Like, tell everybody the plan. And so people like me, fans, whatever, aren't hard on him. Like, you just want him to get back to being Ke'Bryan, because we've gotten away from that. And again, I think it's there, but I think he's thinking too much. He's tentative. He's in between. there's ways to correct it. And I hope that they're going those routes. Obviously, I don't know the, private conversations, but that's what I see, man. I see a guy that's thinking too much, trying to do too much, and he needs to get back to being athletic at the plate.
Yeah. Yeah, same thing.
What about you? That was my sermon. I'm done now.
No, it was a great sermon because I mean you've left me to basically say I agree, Jason. No, but it's true.
Disagree with me. Don't agree. I don't know. Add on.
Yeah, what I got with you though is just it's such like you look at some of the stats and you're like, all right, great. Like the guy's walking more, like he's taking more pitches, going deeper into ABs, and it's like that's all well and good until the result doesn't exactly go that way. And it looks that way to me too. I think it's just you can always tell with a hitter. You can always tell when they're thinking too much up there. And I didn't have the pleasure of watching the guy every day in 2020 or 2021, but from observing that from afar, it was this is a guy who's an exciting player, and it was a commendable contract to get on top and extend the guy when they could. But it's just tough because you see it defensively too, right? How great he is defensively, and you're like, if you can just get average production hitting, then that justifies everything. But it's so tough because the hitting there just it isn't, and he's pressing, and he's got the capabilities, and I think that's what's maybe the most frustrating for the fan base is just that they see what the guy's capable of, they know what he's capable of, and he's shown what he's capable of. And I think it is there. I'm there with you. I think it's very much still in the toolkit. I think it's just a matter of, hey, at some point, just go out there and play ball. And that's so much easier said than done, as anybody can attest to who's played at that level. But I think it really is that simple. It's just that hitting the bigs, not the easiest thing, and especially not when you're getting in your own head the way that it kind of seems like he has maybe the last few weeks.
2 more points with Ke'Bryan and his contract and what they did. I mean, they signed him to the contract that they signed him to, and he signed that contract with the belief that he would grow into the offense, that he was an elite glove, which he's been. I mean, nobody's going to sit here and pick apart his defense. That the offense would take some time. It's taking some time. That's what's happening here. Taking some time doesn't mean 3 months. It means years. And you would hope that he improves. Again, I can say that, and I can say he looks like crap at the plate right now, and both can be true. That's okay. And, that's why I believe that he's going to dig out of it. I think it's going to take, again, time. They went into this knowing that that's actually a pretty reasonable contract if he grows into the offense. And the Pirates, the way they do business, and again, people are going to take issue with that, and they're free to take issue with that. You need to take risks. You need to gamble on things. The gambling on Ke'Bryan Hayes figuring it out offensively is the same as going to O'Neal Cruz and saying we're going to give you an 8 or 10 million or a bunch of years at a dollar amount and hope that he pans out. I think that's a very smart move with Cruz, and I think that's what they should do. But again, we're talking about taking risks, and so that's what you do with Ke'Bryan and help him figure out the offense. And it's going to take time, and it has taken time. And I just that's the route I would go. I would be stupid. That's what I want you to do, Ke'Bryan. I'm trying to intentionally be crass. It's just I want you to think less. I want you to think less and use your natural ability more. And I know it's a lot easier said on in front of a computer screen than it is at the plate. I've been there, but that's what they need to try to get to with him.
Yeah, and it's probably more infuriating too for some fans too, just because it's not like this is a guy who doesn't care, right? Like when a guy is pressing at the plate, it means they actually care a lot and they want to do well. And it's not like, Hayes is somebody who took the money and is like, all right, I'm good. No, this is somebody who very legitimately is dedicated to the craft, obviously in the field and certainly at the plate too. So I think that, I can't imagine that's not something that, I guess the point of that is just to say that this is somebody who cares at the plate. And I think that's noticeable. And I think that's what makes it all together a little bit more infuriating is just the fact that,
I'd like to see this whole team work less sometimes, to be honest with you, Andrew. I really would. They're so coordinated in meetings and this, that, and the other and doing all this crap before a game and everybody's busy and has to go to here and there. Man, it ain't working right now. Seriously, go play video games. Let's see at 7:05. Baseball's a weird sport like that. Sometimes less is more. It really is. And a lot of these guys, and Ke'Bryan's one of them. We showed up in Sunday morning in Seattle. Everything's, pretty quiet. As soon as we turn the door, the batting cage is right there. And there's guys just, cracking away 4 hours before a game or whatever. man, oh man, it never stops. And, Hayes is one of these workaholic guys. Sawinski's that way. Connor Joe's that way. Not that the others aren't. It's just I think they're on the more extreme end. And I think sometimes you just like work yourself into a frenzy, and it's not necessarily the best thing for you. Go the opposite route. Sometimes, I don't know. When I played, I would sometimes just shut off from that stuff and try to let my natural ability, as limited as it was, take over.
Yeah. Hey, man, I think we figured it out. This is how they progress in June. We get everybody a PlayStation 5 and get out of the way. I think that's how the Pirates get back to a 20-8 month.
There you go. That's it. Don't even do that. Really dial it back and get like some old school Nintendo in there or something. Have these guys trying to figure that out. That'd be funny.
Get them an NES. I'm all for that. Oh, man. Anything else, Jason, before we adjourn today's meeting as usual?
Need a gavel or something. No, yeah. I think we're good. Need awesome, some positivity, though, man. Holy jeez. San Francisco's too beautiful of a city for everybody to be around here being all negative.
Is it a foggy morning? Is it sunny out there? I mean, if it's sunny, maybe there's some positivity.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit of sun. I'm going to go take a double-decker bus tour around the city and just enjoy it. You ever been out here before?
You got to think on that one. It's been a while. No, I don't think I have. No, I'm kidding. Many a time in the city. Hope you enjoy the homeland.
Yeah, we got to do this trip differently next time and get you out here. I feel guilty.
No worries, man. I'll be back out there in a month or so. Pleasure as always, Jason. We'll catch you again soon. Enjoy the West Coast for me, and catch us all next time. Thank you, everybody.
Yep.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you liked the video, please like it and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you enjoyed it on Apple Podcasts, please rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. For 6 months of digital access to post-gazette.com for just $6, click the link down in the description.